Alright, I'm going to do a quick video here to demonstrate how to remove the pump from your RockProof boat. It's a fairly simple project if you just got the right tools, and doesn't take that long at all. These are the tools that you'll be needing to use to take the pump off off your jet boat. You're going to need a ratchet with an extension and a 17mm deep socket. You're going to need another ratchet with an extension and a 3/8 on it. You're going to need a 7/16 wrench. You're going to need two 10mm wrenches. You're going to need a T40 star bit here. You're going to need a needle nose pliers. You're going to need the blue removable Loctite, and also a little bit of your anti-siege. First thing I like to do is remove your reverse gate control arm from the pump. You'll take your needle nose pliers and you'll remove this pin right here. I like putting all my parts here on the actual trim plate on the back of the boat. That way you don't lose them. Once you remove that pin, this piece here actually simply slides up and out. Now you're ready to remove the bolt and the nylon locking nut that attaches it to your reverse gate right here. It's on the end of this arm. This is where you'll be using your 3/8 ratchet with the extension on it. And you'll be using your 7/16 on your wrench. Now the bolt is actually threaded through your housing here, so you'll have to take it out. It doesn't just slide out; it's threaded. Reverse gate will fall down. Set your bolt here with your nylon nut. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is to remove the bolt that controls your steering nozzle. And that's this one right here. This is where your two 10mm ratchets come in handy. Now you're ready to remove your T40 star bolts here. Now, when you remove this off, you want to make sure and be careful that you don't drop your nozzle on your concrete or anything, because it does just slide out of your reverse gate housing once it's removed. And you can see how this comes out. Then you'll set this to the side and you'll start taking the 4 nylon nuts off your bolts here holding your pump on. Okay, now you got your pump completely ready to be pulled out of the back of the hole here of the boat. To do that, you just got to wiggle it some, and if you can't, you got a little pry point back here you can use to pry it out. Something else I like to do once this is pulled out, I usually take a 2x4 and I'll set it in here to let the drive shaft rest on it. That way you're not putting too much forward pressure on your on the front end of it that goes into your engine. Just like that. Now your pump is out of your boat. Okay, this is where I take a section of a 2x4 here. I like to take this drive shaft and just let it rest on the 2x4 while you're working on your pump. Okay, now I'm going to do a quick video here on how you remove your impeller from your pump. Once you remove your pump from your jet boat, pretty simple process. What you're going to want to have is a 3/16 Allen wrench. I like to use a T-handle to remove your grease cone here from your pump. There's 3 bolts. That's where your bearing grease goes into. You'll want to clean all this out, and then you want to replenish it with this XPS jet pump bearing grease. You can order it off of Amazon. You want to fill it back about 75% full. Once you have this removed, you want to go ahead and spin your pump around, and you've got this rubber boot that's attached. It's threaded onto the impeller, but it's reverse threaded. So to remove it, you want to go clockwise to remove this rubber boot off your impeller. Okay, now to remove the impeller, you want to have a really good shock vise. And if you'll notice, when you remove the bearing grease cone, you've got this on the very bottom here, and that's what you'll put into the vise to clamp it down, keep it from spinning. Okay, move this. Once you remove your rubber boot, you want to use this tool here that you can get from Amazon. This is the tool you use to take off the impeller from your housing. It's part number 80-113A. Now these impellers sometimes can be real stubborn to remove from your pump. So you definitely want to have a really good cheater bar set up when you do this. Do not use any power tools on it. This one should come off pretty easy, being it's only got about 15 hours on it. There it is. Once you break it loose, You just simply keep spinning until it's free from the pump. It should lift right out of the pump once it's out. Just like that. Now's a good time to inspect your ring in here. And this one here seems like it's still in pretty good shape. So, one other thing I like to do when I go to reinstall my impellers into the pump is I like to use some of this anti-siege and put on the threads in here before you put your impeller back on. Got to keep them from sieging up into your pump and make it a little bit easier next time to remove it. Now once you go to reinstall your impeller and you've got your anti-siege on the threads in there, you're going to want to have a torque wrench, a reliable torque wrench, and when you go to tighten this down, you want to go to 92 foot-pounds of torque. That's very important that you use a torque wrench to tighten these back down to 92 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, on reassembling the pump to the jet boat, after you've checked and inspected or changed out your impeller and you've replenished your grease into your grease cone, what I like to do is take the threaded blue removable Loctite and put on the 3 bolts, just a little, that holds the grease cone on. I also like to do it on the 4 bolts that holds the pump housing onto your boat, the ones that's got the T16 fittings on them. This cone is designed where it can only go on one way when you put it back on. It can be kind of hard to get started, but it will. And there you go. Now we're ready to install the pump housing back onto the spline. But now before you do that, you want to definitely get you some grease, and you want to grease up your spline on your shaft before you slide it onto your impeller. That's very important. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and throw the pump back onto the shaft. I've done grease the spline. It's very important that you grease the spline really good before you go to slide the pump back onto the shaft. There's only one way the pump can go back on. It's pretty self-explanatory. There we go. It just takes a little bit of effort just to get the splines lined up, but you'll get there. Once you do that, now you're ready to go ahead and put on your 4 flat washers and your 4 nylon nuts. Good and snug. Okay, now you're ready to put your reverse gate bucket back on it, your nozzle. Alright, once you get that first one started, it's downhill from there. Good and tight. Now you want to go ahead and reinstall your steering cable to your nozzle. that down. Ain't gotta be super tight, just snug it down. There you go. Now you got your steering nozzle back on. Tighten down. Now for the last thing, what you want to do is put your reverse gate controller back on it. You want to slide that piece back down in there like you took it out. And on the bolt that holds your control arm for your reverse gate, bends that this part is threaded right here on the housing. This part right here is threaded. What I like to do is just put a little bit of anti-siege about midway on that bolt. That way we don't ever have to worry about it corroding up in there and not being able to get it out, break it off or something. This is where you need 3 hands basically. Let me see here. Alright, put this up here. There we go. Alright. You take your 3/8 socket ratchet and go ahead and tighten that up. Just snug, it ain't gotta be tight, just snug. Then you want to put your nylon nut on the back there. And then you take your 7/16 wrench and tighten it down. Okay, now your reverse gate is completely on and hooked up. Last thing you gotta do is just put that pin back in. This pin right here goes in the back. These are always fun to get back in sometimes. There we go. Alright. There it is. Okay, that's basically how you remove your pump and reinstall it. I mean, if you have to change out your impeller, or if you have to get inside your actual tunnel hole to remove debris or anything, then you shouldn't have any problems to be able to do it. Just take your time with it, make sure you're using the proper tools, and if you do have any questions, just give RockProof a call. Those guys are very informative, and they will let you know with the best advice on what to do to get the job done. Thanks for watching, guys.